Good morning. It's October 18th, 2018. And as you see here, I've got what I'm calling my presidential cap. I was going to wear a different one, actual hat, but I find out it's not in my van. I left it somewhere. I know where it is, but it's not here. Yeah, I've got my presidential hat here because I'm speaking to you this morning as the President of the United States of America, and that is the unincorporated United States of America. Because in reality, ever since the American Civil War, the 1860s, you've had presidents of the United States who are representing the corporations. That's the 14th Amendment citizen. And the corporations, for you Christians out there, you like to use the word Satan as one who has a much diminished soul or no soul. You can use that, but politically it would be more 14th Amendment. And as I've said in my other videos, the 14th Amendment was when federal citizenship was bestowed on those who did their paperwork. This morning, this video I'm going to try to make it more on representatives, because the Republic, as what you know of today, is basically a representative form of government. Your driver's licenses, all your paperwork are representatives of you and how you're tied into the system. And the federal system is incorporated with the City of London. And the City of London is a corporation. It's like, to Great Britain, it is like Washington, D.C. is to the United States. It's a larger entity, it's a one entity, and so the federal Washington, D.C. is it's incorporated with the City of London. And the royal family, the present Queen, 3 days after she had her vows, became Queen, 3 days afterwards, she basically signed over to and walked through or entered the archway to Baal. And that's what I talked about in one of my other videos, this Second Reformation video. You can view that if you want to get into that more. But getting back to the representatives, I've talked in some of my other videos on this, that when you become into the system, you are allowing them to be your representative. When you bring out your driver's license or some other form of identification, if the name on there is in all capital letters, that's representing you. You're saying, yes, this is me, when in reality only you is you. But you've given up your power of attorney by signing these papers for them representing you. that name in all capital letters is representing you. And that's what the City of London, through their insurance program and the Admiralty Maritime Commercial Codes, have roped you into. So maybe that's news to you, but if you've listened to a lot of my other videos, you've kind of gotten that point. And it's a big one. So let's see, that's almost 6 minutes just telling you that. Kind of losing my train of thought now. In my book, which you don't have to read because I'm giving you the biggest part of it right here, Legit President, I attempted to point out that if you wanted to be your own being, not give up your power of attorney, you would claim not to be a 14th Amendment citizen. And you would be a part of the land, and that's what this presidential cap is. It's the unincorporated. I'm representing. I am being my own man. I am the one who sits before you. I'm not even using my name in small capitals because that is a name of me representing me. And I've gotten into this in some of my other videos too. So when Benjamin Franklin was supposedly answered a woman that had asked him, what form of government do we have? And he said, a republic, if you can keep it. Well, by even the 1790s, some of the banking laws from England, from Great Britain, were being already implemented in this country. So things started slipping away right there, and further eroded or got transferred during the War of 1812. And that's why you're not taught it in school anymore, because they don't want to expose anything. So things slowly got eroded. The president of the corporation, who Trump is, and all the presidents since the Civil War, they are the president of the corporation, representing the corporations. So when they say they're representing you, they are representing your debt to that corporation. So they're looking out for the corporation. Whereas this presidential hat, I'm speaking to you as from the land. This office of president, the unincorporated president of the United States of America, has been unoccupied since the Civil War. So this chair here, you can say I'm sitting in it because it's been unoccupied since the 1860s. So I'm just temporarily sitting here telling you some facts. Some of you can say that I was, meaning yourself, was forced into signing for that driver's license or that ID card under fear of arrest, threat, duress, or coercion. A number of licenses ago, I actually signed under TDC, and then I put my name down. And then they took a picture of that and took a picture of me and put it on this photo ID. And when a policeman asked me for my license or my identification, I would take out that piece of paper that I'd signed under threat, duress, or coercion and give it to him, and he'd look at it because it was a piece of paper with my signature on it. And he would say, "Do you have a photo ID?" "Oh, you mean this?" And then I'd pull it out. But that's no longer even done. You're given that. You're not even given a piece of paper anymore. You sign on that funny little thing, that electronic thing, and it's transferred. And the last time I did that, I put under TDC on it. And then when they put it on the photo ID card, they cut down right around my signature so much they cut that under TDC, although you could see just the bottom of the letters under TDC barely above my name. So of course I never had an opportunity after that because of the Real ID Act. I can't even get a driver's license because I'm not part of the grid, meaning I don't have any, and I never have paid an electric bill, any utility, which is pretty much the only way they accept you being a resident of that state under the Real ID Act. You've got to show something that's you've got in the mail with that address on it from a utility company. That's one of the requirements that you are a resident. Since I don't have that, I haven't been able to get a driver's license, and it's according to their codes, their rules that they're enforcing. So I haven't given up my power of attorney by signing over. If you ever go into court, you can claim that you signed under duress because you didn't want to go to jail, or you didn't want to have to be dragged into the court, into the Admiralty court, brought across the bar, and presented yourself to the judge, and the judge asks you to identify yourself, and you say, "I am such and such," and they've got that in capital letters and with your ID or something like that, some way that you're tied into the City of London, into being a federal citizen. So I'm telling you that from this chair, under this cap, and you can believe me, accept what I'm saying or not. Most of you out there are following what the president of the corporation is saying, and you are following what the news media and what the TV is saying, and they are part of a corporation, of course, and hope you're getting all this. I'm just losing my train of thought, so maybe I'll just sign off. I don't know if it's even worth trying to say anymore. I'm calling this video The Bigger Lie because I wasn't satisfied with that other video I did, the lie, because I got sort of off track on talking about the royalty, nobility being your leaders. And it's really not off the track. It's the foundation of it. But I wasn't able to tie all this in to that. And I'm still not satisfied with what I talked about, the nobility, about your leaderships. I'm trying to give you something as just as a guide. I've been charged with being a racist, or called a racist, by talking about Zionism, which in my definition and what a lot of people would see as is Israel being the representative or the leader of the world, and that all our governments should be following Christianity centered in Israel under Zionism, under the Jewish state. And those who are really studied bloodlines and tribal identities have heard something about the 10 lost tribes of Israel, which are basically the 12 tribes, the 13 tribes are the tribes of Israel, where the Jews are actually a half tribe. They crossed with the tribe of Judah, and the tribe of Judah is supposedly where the royalty bloodlines are. But the Jews who came along much later and were actually a half tribe, a half blood of the tribe of Judah, are now claiming to be the only leaders under Zionism. And then they call, a lot of the Jews call all non-Jews Goyim, when in reality most whites are descendants of old man Israel, the Hebrew, the true 13 tribes. Now here's where I get charged with being prejudiced and racist, but I say no, because what I've said is that we're all mixed. Blacks are mixed with other blacks, and most of them in this country are mixed with whites, and the Asians are mixed with different Asian bloods and other tribes, non-Asians. People from India are mixed. Everybody's mixed to various degrees. So, and I've tried to say, well, you should learn about yourself what your mix is and be proud of that, whatever you are. Be proud of what you have, not what you don't have. Like I was saying, that we're mixed to different degrees. So we're led to believe that we should be paying attention to what we're not instead of being proud of what we are. But we can't be proud of what we are if we don't know our identity. So we get false prides, and this is what school systems teach, is to be proud, to have pride. But it's a false pride because it's only what you're indoctrinated in the school systems. So you're given this certificate, this graduation certificate that I'm an expert now in indoctrination, propaganda, lies, and you're supposed to be proud of that piece of paper with your all capital letters on it. I'm proud of this. I'm proud of this. I'm graduated. And the more school you go to, generally speaking, the deeper in debt you get into, especially when you get into college. And the college loan situation is so set up, so criminalized, such a scam, that more and more people are being in debt for their life just on their student loans. Those people that are proudly saying, I've been to college. I was even told by my father to take out a student loan, and I was told by the counselors in school to borrow, and actually I did in my second semester, but I got an uneasy feeling over the first couple of months, and I quickly pulled everything together and paid that off before I even finished my second semester in college. But in those days, if you went to a junior college, which I did, and you worked on the weekends, and you worked during the summer, and you worked in the evening a few times, you could actually pay, if you lived at home, you could pay for your school. And that's what I did. And so the rest of the, basically kind of 2 more years, I never did finish 4 years, although I've got probably 4 years, but I never got a 4-year certificate that ever added up to a full bachelor's degree. And so I'm unpropagandized. I'm not a graduate, and I'm proud to tell you that. I'm not in debt through a student loan. I've never had a house, so I'm not in debt to the mortgage, to a bank for trying to make payments on a home. I've never borrowed money for a car. I've always bought second, third, or fourth hand cars. And I learned how to become a mechanic because I had the aptitude for it. One of my bloodlines is obviously mechanically inclined. And so I was able to keep my cars running. Okay, where were we before we got onto that? Yeah, I was speaking to you as a president of the land and telling you the benefits for that. But obviously, probably the majority of the people in this country today are not capable of taking care of themselves because they've been propagandized to have Big Brother take care of them. And that's where you get socialism, the Bernie Sanders, to where you get communism, the Clintons, and you're led to believe that this is a better form of government, democracy, because democracy, all it takes is 51% of the people saying that we want your money. And that's basically how the taxation system's all set up, is that 49% or less is paying for 51% of people who are not able to take care of themselves. And I'm just giving you some percentages. Actually, the ratio is actually more like 10% is supporting 90%. And less than 1% have, 60, 70, 80% of the wealth of the country. And 90% of you are in debt, 95% probably, 96, 97 are in some form of debt. So you've basically got only 1 or 2% out there that don't owe money. And when you owe money to somebody else, they own you to that degree. And you're giving up your power of attorney to whoever holds that debt certificate. This ties into two of my latest videos on the war on drugs and the people of Tehran, Mexico, that are doing a better job of taking care of their own city by throwing the police force and their government out, and finding out that the criminals have kind of evaporated out of their city. And you could do this too by setting up an unincorporated form of you being the legit leaders and beings of your county, city, state, by not being a 14th Amendment citizen. But most of you want Uncle Sam to represent you and help you along in your life. And you're in debt to a bank. This country, back in the earlier days of the Constitution, before the Civil War and before the War of 1812, worked because those that represented the country were the landowners. These were the only people who could vote. You had to be a landowner. So each time more and more people were allowed to vote, you had a different form of representation. And today, where you have the full corporatocracy running things, representing you, you've pretty much lost all your freedoms, because your government is representing that corporate entity which doesn't have a soul. Um, one of the movies, if you really want to watch an educational movie, it was released as a comedy, is the movie Idiocracy. And it's actually one of the more honest movies out there. And it's telling you how the corporations are running everything. So if you have time and you want to watch an educational movie, check that out. It was, I think, filmed somewhere, I want to say around 2004, but I don't know, somewhere around there. It's maybe 2010, I don't know. It's got some really good acting in it. And it gets right at the beginning of the movie, it gets in the bloodlines and how lineage can be degenerated. So as more and more people got the vote, the form of representation got changed, and you don't even have you're not even following the Constitution today because it's the corporatocracy under the City of London. The lawyers are running everything, and that's what part of this War 1812 was about. It was the original Constitution said that lawyers were foreign to the land. So, and the City of London was foreign to the land of the 13 colonies and later the states. And as the states became incorporated, the state of such and such, instead of the, like, Iowa State, it became the state of Iowa. And that was a corporation. And even We the People is a corporation when it's one entity, and that's 14th Amendment's We the People. So if you want to say, I am part of We the People, use small capitals and don't get roped into being one body, one globalization, one world order. Don't be that one. And if we all had unincorporated cities, we would be just part of that city. This is probably getting above your pay grades again, but that's where I'm trying to say in this video. And that's what a lot of the war is all about. That's why they want to drug everybody so you can escape reality. And it's a cruel world out there. There's more scams and people out there trying to bleed your blood. Predators. There's more predators out there. Even the oil companies are predators in that they want you to be dependent on oil. There's so much of our economy is tied in to the petrochemical corporations. Even agriculture is tied into that today through the chemicals we put on our land and poison our bodies. I hope this is all turning light bulbs on in your brains, because I'm trying to give you the bigger picture and try to tell you the way it is, where your representatives, President Trump may be saying that he is doing what he's doing, and he's probably been the best president coming along in a long time, but still, like even with NAFTA, if you really look at this new agreement that he signed, it's really not much different than the old one. So it's like the globalists are lying to you by telling you truth in one statement and then lying to you afterwards. A lot of what President Trump has actually carried out by like bombing or giving the okay to bomb Syria and making trouble with Russia. Yeah, he's being kind of forced into it. Time will tell, I guess, shortly. Which way he's going to go, what's going to happen. Hopefully some of this that I've said in this video and in my other videos will expose truth as it is instead of the more predatory segments of society. So, more power to you as an individual, as yourself, and be wary of those representing you. Try to be true. Good day.